class. Today we are going to discuss about the properties of electromagnetic waves and about the Hertz experiment. So, electromagnetic waves are non-mechanical waves and they move with the speed equal to the speed of light in vacuum, and it is a transverse wave. So, these are some behaviors of electromagnetic waves. So, these are all the also the properties of electromagnetic waves. We'll be discussing in detail when we go on with the properties. So, let's start up with the Hertz experiment. So, as we said, Maxwell's prediction about the electromagnetic waves was confirmed by Hertz in 1888 with his experiment, which is called the Hertz experiment. Hertz experiment consists of two metal electrodes connected to a small spheres, which in turn is connected to the larger spheres, and then the spheres are connected with a coil to produce a high voltage. This high voltage produced by the coil will produce a spark, a small spark between the spheres, and after some time when it is seen that the spark is also produced in another coil, which is a circular coil kept at some distance. So it says that the spark produced by the high voltage is traveled from one end and to the other end at the receiver. Now when the setup is rotated, the spark is not produced at the end. It shows that these electromagnetic waves are transverse waves and they travel in the straight line. So this is the experiment done by the Hertz, and this proved the presence of electromagnetic wave and also that it travels from one end to the other end in a transverse nature, and also the speed of the electromagnetic waves is equal to the speed of light. So this implies that the energy is transmitted from the electrode to the receiver, which is also a ring form of electrode, as a wave. How this energy gets transmitted from one end to the other end? As it is in the nature of wave, it is starting from one point and it is propagating to the other end. So this wave is called as an electromagnetic wave. As I said, this was the transverse waves as predicted by Maxwell, and its speed is equal to 3 into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. He also detected the presence of radio waves here. So this is what is the Hertz experiment. It is a setup, and how does this verifies the nature of the electromagnetic waves. So properties of electromagnetic waves. Electromagnetic waves are produced by the accelerated charge. That is, when you accelerate a charge to some extent with the high voltage, this charge will produce some radiation which will be in the form of wave that it transmits from one point to the another point. So next is that electromagnetic wave does not require any medium to get transmitted. It is a non-mechanical wave, and as we know, as it is moving, at what speed it travels in the speed of light in vacuum or free space alone. So fourth point is that, which we have already seen, that is electromagnetic waves are transverse in nature. It means, as the term electromagnetic waves is produced by oscillation of both electric field and magnetic field. So these two fields should be always mutually perpendicular to each other. Then electromagnetic waves are not deflected by electric field or magnetic field. It will have same effect with the electric field also and magnetic field also. So it will not get deflected by one or the other. Then electromagnetic waves, as we said already, light is also a part of the electromagnetic wave. So the property that goes with the light also goes with electromagnetic waves. So electromagnetic waves can show interference, diffraction, and can also be polarized. So in vacuum, the speed of the electromagnetic waves is equal to speed of light, that is c. speed of light is given by c. So in free space, the electromagnetic wave speed is equal to c, whereas when this electromagnetic waves moves in a medium, its speed is given by v, and this v is always less than the c. That is, in a medium, the speed of electromagnetic wave is less than speed in free space. Electromagnetic waves speed in medium is less than speed in free space. So in a medium of refractive index, if you have a medium, at what speed will it move? If the medium is with refractive index mu, then the speed would be in ratio c by v. Then if you do that, the mu value is found to be root of epsilon or mu r. See, c is equal to, we know the speed of light, c is equal to 1 by root of epsilon naught into mu naught. This epsilon naught and mu naught are the permittivity in free space and permeability in free space respectively. So again, for v is, what is v? Speed in medium. So instead of this, see, speed is equal to 1 by root of epsilon naught mu naught. That is in general epsilon into mu. For free space it is epsilon naught into mu naught. So then for medium it should be 1 by epsilon into mu. So when you bring this to the numerator, it becomes 1 by root of epsilon naught mu naught into, you have to write the inverse. So root of epsilon mu by 1, right? So it would be epsilon mu by root of epsilon mu naught. So it can be written as, on the whole, epsilon mu root of epsilon mu by epsilon naught mu naught. So epsilon by epsilon naught is nothing but epsilon r. Mu by mu naught is nothing but mu r. So in a medium of refractive index, then the value would be root of epsilon r mu r. Then the 8th point is about energy density. Energy density, see, density is anything per unit volume, that is by volume, divided by volume. In one volume, how much value you got is the density. So here it is energy density. So it is energy by volume. Total energy divided by volume. That is, one volume I take and I find how much energy is present in that volume. That is called energy density. And energy density for electromagnetic wave is given by U. Here, as we know, it is both electromagnetic wave is that relates both electric and magnetic field. So energy density is given by energy density value with respect to electric field plus energy density value with respect to magnetic field. The energy density value with respect to electric field is given by 1 by 2 epsilon naught E square, and energy density value for magnetic field is given by 1 by 2 mu naught into B square. Here on this part, this first part is energy density due to electric field, that is UE, and the second part is equal to energy density due to magnetic field, that is UB. So these both are will be equal. So it is energy density is equal, U equal to epsilon naught T square, either epsilon naught D square or else 1 by mu naught B square. This 1 by 2 is just half plus half total, okay. See, that is, for electromagnetic wave you have both electric field and magnetic field, okay. So total value is, if total value is 1, if the total energy value is 1, then it means half electric energy density plus half magnetic energy density, isn't it? So half plus half is one total energy density, okay. Only this part is energy density of electric field, and only this part is, leaving off this 1 by 2, only this part is energy density of magnetic field. On the whole, when you add up, it is half plus half. That is what is given here. U equal to epsilon naught E square, or else it is equal to 1 by mu naught B square. So that is energy. Ninth point is about intensity. Intensity I is equal to energy by surface area into time. That is, see, intensity is equal to energy by surface area into time. So this is what is given in the words. Energy crossing per unit area per unit time and perpendicular to the direction of propagation of electromagnetic wave is called intensity. So when I have a screen of area A, how much energy of waves is passing through this area per unit area in particular time. And as we know, this area always the electromagnetic wave is transverse, that is, it will move in a straight line from one point to another point. So how do we know when it crosses an area? The area I consider should be perpendicular to this waves propagation. Only then this will be crossing this area and moving perpendicularly, so that you can find how much energy has crossed that particular area. So the energy crossing per unit area in per unit time, and that is perpendicular to the direction of the propagation of electromagnetic wave, this is called intensity. Okay, so what is that? Energy per unit area per unit time. So if you have the word called per, it should be divided by. So energy per unit area per time. So for energy it is divided by area, for energy it is divided by time. So energy by area into time is called the intensity. Energy by time can be written as power. Power equal to energy by time. Okay, so it is power by surface area is the intensity value. 10th point is average energy density for electromagnetic waves. As we saw, it is 1 by 2 epsilon naught E square, or else 1 by 2 1 by mu naught B square. 11th point is that we have seen that electromagnetic waves have some energy and energy density. Likewise, electromagnetic wave also have some linear momentum because it moves in a straight line. It is a transverse wave. So linear momentum is given by energy by speed. And then finally, the force exerted by an electromagnetic wave on unit area is called radiation pressure. We know that pressure, what is the pressure formula? Pressure P is equal to force by area, isn't it? So you have some waves, it carries some energy. So when this wave hits on a surface of area A, then it will produce a pressure which is called radiation pressure. The force at which this wave hits a surface area of unit area is called as pressure. It is called the radiation pressure. So pressure P is equal to force by area. It is force per unit area, right? So that is what is given here. Force by what? By an electromagnetic wave on the unit area is called radiation pressure. Then the 12th property is that so if an electromagnetic wave is incident on a material and that material is of the kind that absorbs the electromagnetic wave, then the energy delivered on the surface will be P is equal to U by C, given by the formula P is equal to U by C. That is, momentum is equal to energy by speed. That is what we have already seen here. Okay, momentum equal to energy by speed. So if it is totally absorbed, also use this thing to relate. And suppose if it is not absorbed, if the electromagnetic wave hits the surface and it gets reflected back by the surface, then it means, see, if it is observed, I have a surface, if the electromagnetic wave hits the surface and it is getting observed there, you have only one value of momentum in one particular direction. But when the electromagnetic wave hits the surface and gets reflected back, you have two different momentum. So you have to find the change in momentum, that is del P. Change in momentum is given by momentum along P2 minus P1, isn't it? Or else P1 minus P2. Change, if you have the term called change, you have to go for x2 minus x1, like that. So here change in momentum, which means momentum in one direction minus momentum in the opposite direction. So here momentum value P is equal to U by C is common. So when it goes in one direction, it is U by C. Okay. For change you have one minus, so minus, and then when it comes back in the opposite direction also U by C, but it is in the opposite direction, so you have to add up one minus here. So it is U by C minus this minus. For change you have one minus, right? So for that minus, this minus is for opposite direction, U by C minus of minus U by C. So it becomes minus into minus plus. So U by C plus U by C, which is 2U by C. This is for momentum when it is reflected back by the surface. Then the 14th point is the rate of flow of energy for a unit area is given by the Poynting vector. That is, for an electromagnetic waves it is directional, and the energy flow of this electromagnetic wave is given by a vector which is called the Poynting vector, and it is represented by S vector is equal to 1 by mu naught of E vector cross B vector, because it is due to electric field and magnetic field, isn't it? So it is given by S vector equal to 1 by mu naught into E vector cross B vector, and its unit is watt per meter square. So this Poynting vector, as the name goes, it points the direction. So Poynting vector gives the direction of the wave or energy that gets transmitted in the wave. And the final point is that electromagnetic waves carries not only the momentum and energy, but it also has angular momentum. So that is the final point. So let us recall once again about the properties. As we know, first point is when a charge gets accelerated, electromagnetic wave is produced. It does not need any medium because it is a non-mechanical wave. So then about speed of the electromagnetic wave, then it is transverse. Then fifth point is it will electromagnetic wave, isn't it? So it is about does not deflected by electric and magnetic field. About light, it is having the same as light property, and then in free space it is equal to light, but in medium what happens? Then 8th point is about energy density, 9th point is about intensity, 10th point is about average energy density, and 11th point, from 11th point it is about linear momentum. First 11th is formula for linear momentum, and then for 12th linear momentum when the surface observes the electromagnetic wave, and 13th point when the surface reflects the electromagnetic wave, and 14th point is Poynting vector. 15th one is it also has angular momentum. So these are all the properties of your electromagnetic waves. So I hope you have understood. Thank you.